Since I've been doing this probably longer than I'm willing to admit on this call, there's really been an increased need or drive for organizations to ensure that IT and IT security help enable the business or evolve, to innovate, to drive revenue, actionable information back into the business. And those demands on organizations today are really moving faster and faster than ever before, right? We always used to talk about storage and click to disk. And now it feels like organizations are talking more and more about click to value or click to revenue. And of course, through all of that, you got to have the right resources, tools, technologies, and adopt those things at the speed of light and add security and not alienate your users. So it's no small undertaking. The challenge hasn't changed necessarily, but the pace of change has definitely increased over time. So what are organizations doing to deliver against those challenges? If you think about some of the larger trends in the marketplace, Gartner states that anywhere operations is one of the top 6 initiatives for 2021, and fundamentally, right, that's to drive agility, to enable the business, to drive more value out to your customers and to your internal users, so that regardless of device, location, application, cloud, you name it, their experience is seamless and optimized across the board. If you look at cloud adoption, right, one recent study said somewhere between 10 and 14 cloud providers on average is what an organization may work with. So why? Again, it's to help address some of those underlying challenges around flexibility, around ability to scale up or scale down at the demands of the business and deliver really just-in-time capabilities. And then if you look at Internet of Things, I think a study talks about 35 billion Internet of Things devices connected in 2021. So, right, if you're a manufacturing organization, or do you have individuals with wearable devices? Do you have tracking on your manufacturing systems to make sure nothing overheats or breaks down? Or if you're construction, are you doing that at the site? How are those things delivering, again, value back to the business, value back to the organization to ensure that you can have actionable information and scale and grow the company? Now, those are the IT initiatives, and those present challenges when it comes to security. So what we see as part of this transition to anywhere operations, to cloud or hybrid environments, to Internet of Things, is it's putting more pressure on security to deliver to the organization, and frankly, deliver in a way that may be slightly different from how they've delivered in the past. So we see a changing threat landscape. If you think about anywhere operations and what everybody has lived through in the last 12 months, we've seen an increase in phishing, ransomware attacks against healthcare organizations, attacks against individual users because everybody is remote. In the shift to the cloud, right, we've seen an increase in supply chain attacks or service provider-based attacks like the SolarWinds challenge that recently came out. And then with the Internet of Things, you look at the demands of the business and the threats that might impact those. So I was reading about a threat with voice transcription solutions, or kind of the series of the world, Alexa, and what that means from a security perspective moving forward. So you got to make sure, one, the organization is moving to address the goals of the business and drive revenue, implement security for the organization that addresses this evolving threat landscape, and do so in a way that doesn't alienate the users, which is no small task. And then you need to also make sure you maintain the flexibility and agility to move forward. So how do you do that? How do you train up the staff? How do you get the right tools, technologies? How do you align this? And one of the things historically that has come out of these two areas is almost a dichotomy between the IT initiatives or goals of the business and security, where you've had checks and balances, you've had security focused on compliance or risk reduction, or reducing the structure footprint, if you will, for attack surface. And those things have come at potentially an expense of IT, or you have IT going down initiatives in past, and then sort of how do we implement security around that? And those two areas have somewhat competing interests. What we're seeing now moving forward is actually a convergence of solutions, and the demands of the business between those groups is starting to have to align more about business processes, user-centric or customer-centric modeling, and approach this in a more cohesive manner. So it's no longer just about addressing the threat or mitigating the risk. It's about the underlying business process, prioritizing the user experience and the application when it comes to addressing any of the problems. One example, I was talking with a law firm recently. We were talking about their case management program and application, and how the attorneys use that application, interface with that application, how it impacted their customers and clients, and how zero network access was going to play into that, and how they were going to prioritize applications when it came to zero trust, right? And that's a different conversation security people are necessarily used to having moving forward, or historically have had to have. And that's where we're seeing not only converged solutions, but IT and security having to work closer together to ensure that they can deliver the right end user experience, that they can drive revenue, that they can grow and be agile, and at the same time implement security that helps them address the changing threat landscape and the changing attacks that are out there. So that's what Teneo does. We are a services organization that helps companies optimize anywhere operations. What does that mean, Matt? That sounded like a whole bunch of marketing words all in one sentence. So we help organizations optimize or gain visibility into their end user experience. So how do we benchmark how a user engages with the systems, the applications, the network, the cloud, and monitor and manage that visibility over time to ensure the performance of that, regardless of what else is transpiring in the environment, to make that seamless. We help connect the gap between performance and security. So what is the impact of a security solution against that end user experience or performance across the environment? How do you optimize performance at the network or in the cloud, and at the same time secure those solutions that you're putting out there? How do you keep up with the pace of change of the threats in the landscape? How do you maintain flexibility and scalability? And how do you transition these things effectively, right? How do you get your team up to speed quickly? How do you ensure that you can take advantage of a new solution or a new security solution in the marketplace without impacting the deliverables for the business? And out of all of that, how do you gain valuable insights, actionable information back to drive corporate initiatives across the board, and respond, importantly, to any of the security threats out there? And Teneo's background is very much in visibility and performance and ensuring optimal end user experience. And we have operations and application prioritization, all of those things, as well as expertise in security. So that's a little bit about Teneo.